Hey there, Virgo. I am doing a reading for you. These are timeless readings for really whoever finds it, but I am titling it a Virgo reading, thinking of it from that perspective. So thanks for joining me. Let's see what's going on.
Okay. Someone who went quiet on you is currently sitting with the full weight of what that silence cost. And the regret is consuming them in ways they didn't anticipate. They thought distance would bring clarity. They thought space would make things easier. They thought silence would protect them from feelings that were too intense or situations that felt too complicated. Instead, the quiet just amplified everything, made the absence louder than your presence ever was, made them realize that what they were running from was exactly what they actually needed. And now they're carrying something heavy, not just missing you, genuine regret, the kind that lives in your chest and makes it hard to breathe, the kind that wakes you up at 3 in the morning replaying moments you can't change, the kind that forces you to confront that the silent treatment you gave someone who didn't deserve it was cowardice disguised as self-protection. In the specific territory of February energy, where truth demands to be spoken and feelings refuse to stay buried, this person is being confronted with their own choices, with the impact of their silence, with what they threw away when they went quiet. And that confrontation is creating movement. Internal movement that's building toward external action. Let me reveal what's alive in this energy of regret and reckoning, in the brutal education of consequence. Some people only learn through loss. They don't appreciate what they have while they have it. They need to experience someone's absence to understand what their presence was providing. They need silence to recognize what voice was worth. It's possible the person who gave you silent treatment is receiving exactly that education right now. They're living in the reality they created, the one where you're not available, not reaching out, not trying anymore. And that reality is teaching them what all your words never could. Some people use silent treatment as a weapon, as punishment, as way to maintain control while making the other person feel powerless. They withdraw to hurt, to manipulate, to force you to chase or beg or change. But others use it as defense. They go quiet because they're overwhelmed, because vulnerability terrifies them, because they don't know how to process big feelings or difficult situations, so they just disappear. Not to hurt you, to protect themselves, but the impact is the same. The person in your situation might fall into either category: weaponized silence or defensive silence. And which one it is matters for what happens next, for whether their regret is genuine or just discomfort with losing access. This reflection invites you to consider: was their silence punishment or protection? Let me illuminate what regret actually looks like in someone experiencing it. Regret shows up as replaying. They're going through conversations in their mind, moments when they could have responded differently, times when they chose silence over honesty, opportunities to bridge the gap that they let pass. And each replay brings fresh recognition of what they lost through their choices. In the specific torment of backward looking clarity is less than #0. 5 is greater than people often see themselves accurately only after damage is done. They recognize their patterns, their fear, their self sabotage, and they see that you weren't the problem. Their inability to communicate was the problem. It's possible this person is sitting in exactly that uncomfortable recognition right now. They're seeing their silence for what it was: avoidance, cowardice, fear, dressed up as needing space. and they're seeing you for what you were: patient, trying, willing to work through difficulty, everything they should have valued but took for granted. Some people experiencing this level of regret can't function normally. They're distracted, withdrawn in a different way now. Not withdrawing from you, but withdrawing into their own processing of what they did and what it cost. Friends notice they're off, that something is weighing on them. You might have mutual connections who've mentioned this person seems different lately, seems troubled, seems like they're carrying something heavy. That heaviness, it might be the full realization of what giving you silent treatment actually meant, what it destroyed, what it might have cost them permanently. This reflection invites you to consider: have you heard anything about this person struggling lately? Let me speak to what reunion energy actually means in this context. Reunion doesn't guarantee reconciliation. It means crossing paths, seeing each other, being in same space, whether digitally or physically. The universe creating conditions where silence becomes unsustainable because presence is unavoidable. It's possible you and this person are moving toward exactly that kind of encounter. Not necessarily because either of you planned it, but because circumstances are aligning, because mutual connections are creating situations, because February energy is forcing what's been avoided. Some reunions happen through deliberate reach out. One person gathering courage to break the silence, to send the message, to make the call, to say we need to talk, and creating the space for it. Others happen through collision, running into each other, being at same event, circumstances putting you in proximity without either of you orchestrating it, and then having to decide in the moment whether to acknowledge or ignore, whether to engage or walk past. You might experience either type: the planned conversation or the unexpected encounter. Both carry weight, both demand response, both create opportunity for truth that silence was preventing. This reflection invites you to consider: how would you respond if you saw this person right now? Let me reveal what a final decision means in this energy. Decision suggests resolution, no more limbo, no more maybe, no more sitting in the ambiguity of are we or aren't we? Are they coming back or staying gone? Do I wait or do I move on? Clarity, one way or another. In the specific moment of choice after regret, people either commit to fixing what they broke or commit to releasing it completely. They stop straddling, stop keeping options open, stop operating in the gray. They choose. It's possible this person is approaching exactly that point of decisive clarity. They're done with the internal debate, done with the back and forth, done with the maybe. They're ready to either show up fully or let go completely. Either way, the decision is forming. Some people decide to pursue, to reach out, to apologize, to ask for another chance, to demonstrate through action that their regret is genuine and their behavior would be different. They decide you're worth the risk of rejection, worth the humility of admitting they were wrong, worth fighting for. Others decide to release, to accept that the damage is done, to recognize that regret doesn't entitle them to forgiveness, to let you go because trying to come back would be selfish. They carry the regret as lesson learned rather than mistake to fix. You might be on the receiving end of either decision soon: someone choosing to pursue you or someone choosing to let you go with awareness of what they're letting go of. This reflection invites you to consider: which decision would you prefer them to make? Let me address what you need to understand about your position. Their regret doesn't obligate you to anything, doesn't require you to make their guilt easier to bear, doesn't mean you have to accept them back just because they're sorry, doesn't erase what the silent treatment did to you. It's possible you were hurt deeply by their withdrawal, by the confusion, by the feeling of being punished without knowing what you did wrong, by the one-sided nature of caring while they were checked out. That hurt is valid regardless of how much they regret causing it. Some people are so grateful when someone who hurt them shows remorse that they immediately forgive everything. They're so relieved the person finally sees what they did that they don't require actual changed behavior. The regret is enough. But regret without transformation is just guilt, and guilt doesn't prevent pattern repetition. Someone can genuinely regret giving you silent treatment and still give you silent treatment again next time they're overwhelmed, unless they've actually developed new coping strategies. You might need to watch for evidence of real change if this person does reach out. Not just, I'm sorry I went quiet, but I'm sorry I went quiet and here's what I'm doing differently so I don't handle difficulty that way again. This reflection invites you to consider what would genuine change look like beyond just apology. Let me illuminate what you might be feeling as this unfolds. There's probably part of you that wants them to come back, that misses what was good between you, that hopes the silence was just a phase and reconnection is possible, that still cares despite the hurt. In the complicated territory of still loving someone who hurt you, feelings don't just disappear because someone treated you poorly. You can be angry and still care, can be hurt and still hope, can have moved on emotionally while still feeling something when you think about them. It's possible you're carrying exactly that complexity right now. Part of you wants them to reach out. Part of you hopes they don't. Part of you wants to hear their regret. Part of you thinks regret isn't enough. Part of you is ready to try again. Part of you knows better. Some people pressure themselves to have clear, simple feelings, to be either completely over it or completely open to reconciliation. But most people live in the messy middle, where both things are true simultaneously. You're allowed to be in that messy middle, to not have decided what you'd do if they came back, to be both hurt and hopeful, to want resolution without knowing what resolution you actually want. This reflection invites you to consider, what do you actually want regarding this person? Let me close by speaking to what this moment is asking of you. Whether reunion happens or not, whether they reach out or stay gone, whether their regret translates into action or just remains internal torment they carry alone. You need to stay grounded in your own worth. Their silent treatment was about them, their limitations, their fear, their inability to communicate like an adult. It wasn't about you being too much or not enough or somehow deserving of being shut out. May you stay clear about that. May you protect your peace. May you trust yourself with whatever comes. The regret is real. The decision is forming. The reunion might happen. Reunion and a final decision. Paths might cross. Choices might get made. Clarity might emerge from the ambiguity. They regret giving you silent treatment. The weight of what they did is landing. The recognition of the hurt they caused is present. The awareness that silence was mistake is active in their consciousness. But their regret is theirs to carry. Their decision is theirs to make. And your response? That's yours to choose when the moment arrives. Trust this. Trust that you deserve someone who communicates through difficulty instead of disappearing into silence. Trust that regret alone isn't enough without demonstrated change. Trust that you're allowed to have boundaries around how someone re-enters your life after exiting it poorly. Stay boundaried, stay clear, stay sovereign. Their regret doesn't control you. Their decision doesn't define you. your peace matters most.